It's Tuesday! Oh, I like doing that. I feel so American when I do that. It's kind of like, let's get some big trucks, let's bounce them over some big cars and eat cheese. Okay, welcome to Tuesday night. It's Tuesday night. It is a fantastic summer's evening down here in the southwest of England. I am looking out at the beautiful skies. The pink is just rising over the horizon. The sea I can see there. It is time to talk Gouda. Academy Cheese bring you this tonight. As always, they are the most wonderful organization trying to improve the world's knowledge in cheese because we need to eat more. And actually, at this time of the big C, we need to be supporting all those little cheesemakers and cheesemongers out there who are seeing their livelihoods disappear as they ask their cows to cross their leg and keep them milk inside for a bit longer. Right, we've got a special guest tonight, an absolute wonderful man. He makes me feel really old, I'm just saying. His hobbies are surfing and mountain biking, and he's just built his own house, and he makes cheese. He started when he was 17. If you already know who he is, that's fantastic. We're going to bring him in just a few minutes. But first, we need to reach out to Tracy. Are you there, Tracy? Yes.
Hi. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for joining Charlie and I, and our special guest. And Charlie's got beer. I haven't.
Yes.
And I've got grey, miserable skies in Shropshire. But hey ho, let's get on and talk Goudas.
All right, let's talk Goudas. And I saw just a few seconds ago the big question of the evening. Right, where is it? This is it. How do you pronounce Gouda? Is it Gouda? Is it Howda? Is it Huda? Is it Gouda? We're going to find that out. Now we were going to bring Giel in a little later, but actually he's just got a beautiful backdrop at the moment. So we're going to go into our virtual green room and say, Giel, are you there?
I am there. Hello.
Give him the whole screen. Where? Come on. How do we give him a big? Oh, let's just do this one. There we
go. All right.
All right, Giel, how are you? How is it?
Thank you. Yeah, fine. Keeping busy. We got some nice weather. So that's good.
You're in Loo, which is about an hour North Cornwall coast, sort of facing the bottom of Ireland.
Yeah, southeast coast.
Now, I've heard a fascinating story about you, how your family has come into cheese making. But before we do that, and I want to really get that, I want to introduce the cheese tonight, which is our third and most important starting. Now, this is one of yours. See if you can recognize it. What is that chap, Giel? Who is he?
Oh, vintage.
Yeah, that's your vintage. So what is vintage? How old is vintage?
That one is about 4 years. The one I sent you. Yeah, so that's one of our. It's very similar to a Parmesan style cheese. So a lot of chefs are cooking with that one and using it to sort of grate on dishes. If you want to use less cheese, then that one's a great substitute because it's so strong that you only need a crumble on your dish to add flavour into your cooking. But also it makes a great addition to any cheese board. It's one of those ones that you only need a tiny crumb of.
You've hit serious sales mode. People are already logging onto your brand new online store. Giel has a brand new online store. Giel, while we're looking at this one, what are those little white dots?
They are calcium crystals. So excess amount of calcium in the milk. It takes about 10 months for them to start to form. And they give a nice, lovely crunch into the cheese. It's a real hard crunch. You will see it in our mature cheese and our ex-mature as well. But the vintage really has like a crazy amount of them in there. So
that's what people often call salt, don't they? That little kind of thing that happens.
It's different to a cheddar. Very much different to a cheddar. Because obviously cheddars are they put salt all the way through the cheese, whereas Goudas are brined. So it's slightly different way of adding salt to the cheeses. But the excess amount of calcium really is from what those cows are eating outside there.
Those are proper cows.
Hey,
am I about to taste their very good work?
You are very much so. They do all the hard stuff. We do the easy bit.
So let's talk about you. Let's talk about your family. I understand that your parents came over in sort of 1998. Am I right about that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, my parents moved over. From south of Holland, a really farming area, to Cornwall, 1988. Basically, when they started the quota system, The Dutch were producing well over 100% of their own milk, so quota was very, very expensive to buy in the Netherlands, whereas England was only producing 60% of its own milk. So obviously they wanted to get people to produce more milk, so quota was really cheap. And my parents just could not afford to start dairy farming in Holland, whereas in England it was a lot more affordable. And yeah, my dad had a real passion for for milking cows, and it was just sort of his dream to do that. So yeah, Cornwall really made that possible for him. Sort of 20 years of well, not quite, but a long time of doing the business. Milk price has never been good enough. Obviously, they've had heavy mortgages, a lot of debt.
There's a story that you came back from college one day and found there was a for sale sign at the end of your drive.
Yeah, basically 2012, parents put the farm up for sale, and it wasn't viable anymore. Sort of really heartbreaking. The whole family wanted to carry on milking and carry on farming, but it just wasn't viable. So I just said to them, look, if I start buying milk off you and making cheese sort of thing, would that be something that you'd want to do? It took very little convincing because my parents are through and through farmers, dairy farmers. So they were like, yeah, let's do it.
Straw, you're saying?
Pardon?
They were grabbing anything that would work. They were going to do it, kind of thing.
Yeah, literally, yeah, anything, yeah. So I went back to Holland.
So when you came over in '98, you must have 5 or 6 years old or something like that. Do you remember Holland?
Well, we go back all the time, so I remember it through going back and photos and family and stuff. But yeah, we go back all the time.
And this moment when you saw the for sale sign, a genius moment. Let's make cheese. What do we make? Yeah. I'm Dutch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, literally exactly that. I mean, that's all it really took, and it was just a case of like a last desperate attempt to try and carry on farming. That's really all we tried to do was a last desperate attempt to keep the farm going. So yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a number of farmers. Cheese making was a diversification, but in doing it, they discovered a love, a passion, that wonderful blend of art and science, and the landscape and the cattle that makes it a really lovely place to be.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So my brother's an agronomist, so he grows all the food for the animals. So we grow 100% of our own silage. Oh, what? Sorry.
I had to look agronomist up. I didn't know what that was, but I saw
agronomist is someone. There's someone who looks after the soil, plant, seeds, crops, all that sort of stuff. So me and my brother work really closely together to obviously grow the food that we want the cheese to taste like. So it's all about what you put into the cows is what you get back out. We grow 100% of our own silage on site, so everything they're eating, everything they consume, we produce, and my brother's in charge of all of that. So the main part of the diet is grass sort of thing, and that's where a lot of our flavour comes from. So he's really involved with the farm. And then my mum and dad, obviously, it's their own pedigree herd. They're wholesale breeding cows. Every animal is born and reared on site. We look after every single one of them. So
ticking every box.
Yeah, literally, yeah. So I mean,
you even grow your own logs to go in your own chip boiler to make the heat that makes the cheese.
That's it. Yeah, we have biomass boiler, sustainable forestry, solar panels on the roof. So the whole everything we do is.
Okay, cheese lovers everywhere. Before we get to the cheese, and I'm sorry if this thing, you got to see his house. So Giel, turn your phone around. Giel built this himself last year.
My house. Oh, house.
I mean, come on, that's living the dream. Can we convert a couple of you guys out there, obviously not during the crisis, to give it all up, go and live on the coast of Cornwall and live there? Look at that. Isn't that beautiful?
It looks awesome.
That's our house.
Yeah. All you got to do is be an exceptionally dedicated and talented and high and risk happy 17-year-old to give it up to make Gouda, basically.
That's it. I've got to do something. Yeah.
Right. So, Giel, so the question that you've got to answer, number one, is it Gouda, Howda, Gouda, or Huda?
Oh, well, we at home say Gouda, but we always tell everyone in England that Gouda's all right. But Gouda is how we all say it in Holland, and I suppose the correct terms. But if you're in England and you want to say Gouda, then we say that's fine. No,
it's the customer's always right moment, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
Right. It's like Howda, like how'd you do, is what you're saying.
Exactly. There you are.
Cool. All right. I think it's time we tasted some cheese. We've got 3 here that you sent us through. This one.
You can get rid of us, Charlie, if you want.
I don't know how to get rid of you, Casey, and I'd never want to. And if I make you small, I make Giel small. I mean, obviously that gives me more.
That's fine. We want to see you and the cheese.
Okay, well, let's get on to the cheese. Here we go. You do not need. This is kind of like that. Oh, look. This is that thing with the guy with the apple. Look. Do you remember that one? What's that? That bit of art? Okay, answers on a postcard. Everyone who's listening, who did this? Who did this? Who did this? There's the art out there. Anyway, so here we have your youngest chap.
Very quiet.
Small, smooth, seeing a little bit of a dimple. And then we have your mature. I think. No, Mike got these the wrong way around. No, that's right. So we're looking at 12 months for this chap, and you're saying 4 years for this one.
Yeah.
So this is Gouda for you. And just to compare, we're seeing different shapes and sizes, the concaving of the rinds. Tell us what makes Gouda Gouda, Giel. Why is Gouda different from cheddar, say?
The main thing is it's a wash curd cheese. So that's really sort of your main difference. And there's small differences in terms of the size you cut the curd. And obviously it's brined, so that's why we salt it, sort of thing. And
people on this who listen out there, they're wonderful, they're educated, but we need to go a bit deeper into the wash curd. What is wash curd?
So basically, when you're making cheese, you want to take moisture out of cheese. Obviously, there's a lot of moisture in cheese. Depending on what kind of cheese you're making, depends on how much moisture you're taking out. So, for example, cheddar is scalded, and a brie would be hanging cloth. Whereas a Gouda, we take sort of in between a brie, if you like, and a cheddar amount of moisture out of the cheese to try and keep the cheese creamy, but also be able to mature it on for a longer time. Therefore, we use warm water to wash the curd. And essentially, the curd does what your fingers do when you're in a bath for too long. They dry up, they shrivel up, and they take all the moisture out of your skin. And that's what warm water does. Warm water, if you put the curd in the warm water, it literally dries out. You're using water to dry cheese out, and that's essentially what we're doing making Gouda.
But doesn't it also, and if you need to know more about wash curd cheeses, the Academy of Cheese courses are there to educate you. Little plug. Wash curd also washes some of the bacteria, the lactose out, and reduces the bacterial production of acidity, allowing the sugars to come through. Am I right in saying that?
That's right, yeah. The whole point of cheese making essentially is to get rid of lactose, and that's obviously, our way of doing that sort of thing. So, yeah, very much so. So the classic Goudas, they start off, and if you don't mind me saying, they are some of the most boring cheeses in the world when they're young, and they just climb into beauty and start producing amazing flavors at that sort of 7, 8, 9 month mark, and just explode with flavor once you get over 12 months. Definitely. We like to start with sort of the youngest we really sell is the semi-mature, which is 5 to 6 months old. We do have a mild cheese to offer, which, if you've been to Holland and you've had a continental breakfast cheese and you've had a really young cheese, then we do have it available. But most of our customers are wanting the older stuff. So we really start mainly with promoting our semi-mature, and then we climb up to the mature one, which we won Best Hard Cheese at Great British Cheese Awards with. Sort of great moisture levels in there, but really rich, really moreish. And then obviously the vintage is just incredible. So
burnt toast, caramel, those kind of notes.
We've got a couple of questions. Well, there's one of the ladies that's viewing has got sliced Gouda. Do you slice any of your Goudas, Giel? I would doubt it. Maybe the younger ones.
We do.
No,
yeah, we our cheese is very it's slightly different than maybe what you would buy in the supermarkets or what people have tried before if they've been to Holland and things. We try and take our cheeses to that next stage, that sort of the maturity is a lot different. Every single cheese is made by hand, so the sizes are always different. So it's really, really hard to sort of try and do the mass production side of things. You can probably see what Charlie showed up earlier, that they're all sort of different thicknesses and different heights in the cheese. The vintage is especially small because it's lost a lot of moisture. So obviously we've lost loads of kilos through moisture, but as a whole, they they are all different sizes. You know, some are 12 kilos, some are 10 kilos. They all vary in size. So to try and get this whole sliced cheese thing is just impossible for us, really.
We've got another question on the vintage. Why is the vintage so salty?
Salty?
Yeah,
it's just because it's lost so much moisture. So obviously, Gouda is really well known for its moisture. If Charlie is able to hold up the mature or the semi-mature as well next to the vintage, you'll be able to see the difference in terms of thickness. And the majority of that is the fact that you've lost all of that moisture in there. So the cheese has just shrunk right down, lost all its moisture, but there's the same amount of salt in there. So you've got, as a percentage, there's so much more salt left in the cheese than whereas the younger cheeses has got a lot more moisture in there. So as a percentage, there's a lot less salt.
Okay, cracking.
Well, we've got another Gouda in the house here. You know Mike Smales, Giel? Do you know Mike?
Yeah, I've heard of him, but that's about it.
He got Lyburn Farm south of Salisbury. We used to sell his cheese when we were in Shaftesbury because they were not very far away. He has two cheeses that he sells out. We've baked the same cheese. One's a young one and one's an old. The old one is called Old Winchester. I don't know if anybody out there is trying this. Magritte. Oh, hang on, Jill died. Thank you. Just
Right,
Magritte,
the son of man.
is that what it's called? With the apple?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. So Mike has been making this a bit longer than you, I think. But you can see he's got a much paler skin, a drier, almost sheep's curdy, a sheep's milk kind of texture and look there. Completely different. Very good cheese, though. It's done very well over the years. We'll be tasting that in a few minutes.
Are those cows getting closer, Giel?
Pardon?
Are those cows getting closer? You were looking a bit worried then.
Yeah, no, I've just got two left. All the other ones are all gone. They've all dispersed.
Right, before we move on, Giel, tell me about these guys.
Oh.
All right, yeah, wow. So you've got some limited edition ones there. Well, the fenugreek we have on all the time. I like to think that we're getting sort of known for that one. Really, really nutty.
Sorry, that one.
That one there, yeah, that's the fenugreek. Really nutty. People who've got nut allergens, we're a nut-free site, and that's a nut-free product, but it's very, very nutty. A lot of people confuse it with walnut sort of thing. Delicious, delicious cheese. And then you've got the honey and clover there. The honey and clover we hadn't made for over sort of 6 years. But, you know, when we first started out, when we made honey and clover, no one really knew our plain ones, let alone our flavoured ones, so it didn't really sell very well. And then in the summer last year, we decided to make another batch of it. And it's got to be one of my favourites on the list. It's so unusual. It doesn't always complement other cheeses. It's a bit of a standalone one, but it really is delicious. It's just one of those really grassy, earthy flavoured cheeses, and it's just
the clover has a kind of like a grittiness that you taste it, but you can feel the texture between your teeth. It's good.
We've got another question, Giel. How long does it take to make a batch of Gouda? And how are they waxed? Are they plastic coated to mature them?
Yeah, so they're waxed to mature. So they obviously get sealed up in the wax, and that's how they get matured on. Because we rely on the cheese to be exposed to oxygen, we have to keep cleaning and turning the cheeses. So we have to flip them over. So once a fortnight, we're sort of cleaning the cheeses on top, turn them over, clean the other side, clean the shells, and turn the shells as well. We have 35 tons of cheese in storage, so it's very, very labour intensive to obviously mature the cheeses on. And yeah, plastic coating, waxing and plastic coating, that's the way we obviously seal them in. In terms of making, we start pasteurising the cheese at about 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:15 in the morning. We start pasteurising the cheese. And then by the time they go in the brine bath, it's about 10:30 in the evening, something like that.
Oh, so it's all done in a day.
Yeah, so every hour of the day. But obviously, we're not physically like labour intensive making cheese between 4:30 in the morning and 10:30 at night, sort of thing. It's very much a case of it's a patience man's game. You know, you've got to be really patient with it, and you've got to sort of, you know, you've got to let the cheese develop and let it ripen and things like that. So there's a lot of waiting in between it. It's sort of 8 in the morning until about 4 o'clock is where the majority of the labour side of things are in. The rest is sort of at 4 o'clock, we're waiting 6 hours before we put them in the brine bath, and in the morning, a lot of the pasteurizing, that's just, you know, hours of waiting. So, you know, it's not too bad.
Well, Tracy, maybe that's something we should do. We should come back with our digital camera when lockdown is over and bring Tuesday night's cheese night to Giel's farm. We'll see some of that cheese making. What do you think? Giel, can we come?
Yeah, definitely. We've got plenty of space here for you, so by all means, come down. Fantastic.
Right, I'm going to introduce someone else now. This is the Padstow Brewing Company. Now, Giel said that he actually had some of this in his fridge, and so we were going to taste it together. But he's drunk it, which is very good, very good. And so we're tasting with that. Now, I read my own notes on Gouda, and I myself have said that bitter doesn't go very well with Gouda. Now, looking at the Dutch history, beers, wheat beers, that's what was traditionally drunk with Gouda. Is that right?
That's it. Yeah, wheat beers. Yeah, exactly that. Literally, yeah, you said it. But yeah. I love this. I love the bitters. I love the Cornish ales and stuff like that, and I have them with my Goudas all the time. So,
so what are you drinking tonight?
I'm actually drinking a Cornish knocker, which is a golden ale. Cornish knockers. There we are.
And that's a traditional ale, traditional hop kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a Skinner's Brewery one, and it's just a good one. I've got Betty Stokes and I've got Cornish knockers, and I just think they're great. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying this. I love that it brings out the sweetness and hops, that bit of beer that's malty and really bonds with the Gouda. So having that.
Right, any wine you would recommend with it? With Goudas? What sort of wine would you recommend with Gouda?
So I love the Rioja region. I think it's brilliant. That's my sort of favorite go-to wine, although I would say in terms of pairing it with cheese, the Rioja goes really well with our vintage, but I'm not sure if a Rioja goes that well with our milder cheeses. Rioja is really heavy, punchy wine sort of thing, so probably not the best cheese to go with the milder cheeses. But you know, a nice Shiraz or a Pinot Noir sort of thing, that's a really nice sort of red wine to go with the Gouda. I don't drink a lot of white wines. White wines is not my cup of tea. But you know, there are some really fantastic white wines out there, and a lot of the white wines tend to go better with the sort of the mature and the semi-mature, and even the flavoured cheeses. You know, with your fish dishes as well, sort of thing. So, you know, personally, Rioja's heavy, full-bodied wines. That's my cup of tea. But the Pinot Noir is a great sort of cheese to go with it.
But these big cheeses, and I've just tried your 4-year-old. This is astonishing. It's absolutely amazing. These big cheeses, they are one of the few cheeses that really stand up spirits. They can do gin, they can do whiskey and rum, I understand.
Yeah, literally the spirits as well, sort of thing. It's one of those ones which you only need a little crumb of, and your mouth just explodes. And you know, the 4-year-old one kind of shrinks your mouth up because it really is just so full of flavour. So yeah, I see Charlie disappeared.
Sorry, I'm back.
Yeah.
I've got the smallest amount here. This is a bottle I've had for 30 years or something. Got this when I was 18. Not much left. Hart Brothers Ledaig, 1973. This, although it was bottled, it was age 21 years when I got it, so it's about 50 years old. So
he's giving his age away.
So we're going to try. I'm not quite sure how we're going to chew this. So here we go. This is live experimentation on Cheese TV.
From the bottle.
He's gone. That's it. Game over.
Amazing. There are so few cheeses that can really go with spirits. A lot of talked about, particularly the gin revolution. But actually, that is amazing. That is so powerful. It's got like a huge salty bacon thing happening. It's amazing, but almost a haggis. Oh, but that might be the whiskey. Okay, well, my wife's turned up again. You're not having my whiskey. It's a lot. Your gin. Yeah. Oh, maybe we should try it with the gin. Okay, we're going to do a bit of experimentation with the gin. Oh, good. What have we got?
Cornish.
Got Cornish gin. Okay, cool. Let's try Cornish gin. Right. Let's just go deep into Holland now. because there's an absolutely amazing affineur house. For those of you that don't know what an affineur is, come on an Academy of Cheese course and learn about the history of cheese and what affineurs do. Just saying it here first. So an affineur is the person who takes the cheese from being made and matures it on. Now in the UK, all cheesemakers pretty much affineur their own cheeses, which is what Giel does. But across the channel, a lot of European houses, you have specialists who affineur cheese, and they have their own way of bringing character, have their own cheese stores, and a lot of the biome is unique, and they are very good at what they do. This guy is a guy called Piet Wyngaard, and I apologize to him right now, although I do believe he's dead, who started back in 1936, and he was basically being paid in cheese for vegetables. Paying vegetable growers in cheese, and he started affineuring the cheese, and he's now got one of the most amazing cheese affineur businesses, and he has one which I used to sell, which I absolutely love. This is available through the Fine Cheese Company. You can order it from them, called Reypenaer. I don't know if you can read that. Can I do that?
Oh yeah,
Reypenaer VSOP. So this is that old, and you're seeing the same little, I believe this is tyrosine crystals, the calcium crystals that Giel was talking about. I think it's the same ones. Oh, my wife has fantastically actually bought me. Oh, she's stealing some cheese too. Very fair. So you're the same thing. I mean, this is similar but different to yours, Giel.
Yeah, it looks awesome. I want to try it.
Well, we'll get you sent some. So.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna bring this in and taste it. So you're getting the same thing with your Giel's older cheeses, where it very much breaks. It does not bend. This is a cheese now that the structure has so much moisture ripped out of it, and it's so contracted and becomes so dense that it's rock-like. And with this one, you're getting chocolate. Actually. It's really good, but I'm so amazed by Giel's 4-year-old. It's amazing. But things like chocolate, hazelnut, caramel, and they say wood. Now, when I taste this, I often get things like sherry, that alcohol note that's like a sherry or some of those really deep Spanish flavors almost, even though that's a long way from Holland. The complexity in an old Gouda is just too die for. It's really a cheese that flowers in old age, just like me. And I'm sure Giel will in his old age. I mean, he's just young now. So, right. Where were we?
I ask a couple of questions? Someone's saying if you haven't got alcohol or you don't drink alcohol, it's lovely with Cornish tea, your cheese, Giel. And then another question is
that the Tregothnan? That's a Cornish tea estate, isn't it? The Tregothnan, is that right?
Don't know.
Okay.
And then has Gouda cheese got a high vitamin K2 content? Is that why it's healthy for you?
Giel? Oh, he's frozen. I thought that was just him being sort of stony faced and tense, but I think actually he's got Wi-Fi issues. Okay, well, let's hope he comes back. Oh, he's disappeared altogether. Hopefully he'll be back. I have no idea, absolutely no idea about vitamin K content. We will sort of try and work that out. Right, have we got any people from foreign fields? I see Sally Deeds here. Hello, Sally. Nice to see you. I saw Shirley down here. Shirley Zerf, was it? Hello, Shirley. Nice to see you too. Oh, there she is. She's obviously just eating something. Good to see you, Shirley. Have we got anything else for us?
Yeah, people are eating Wyngaard, and it is the Dragathoan tea.
Oh, one way on. Verden. Where's the word Wyngaard? Has it disappeared off here? There we go. Wyngaard.
That doesn't look like cow's milk.
Tracy, sharp as a knife. Yes. No. One of our team. I hope you're on tonight. Had this last week because it's a goat's cheese. And you can tell from its absolute white marble look that even though this cheese is probably a 12-month mature or something of that order, it's still white as a white thing. And let's just bring up its sister cheese. These have come from the same affineurs. Look at the difference in color there. You're also going to get with this white goat's cheese, you are not going to get the build-up of those crystals. You're not going to get the crunch, which we like so much. It has a completely different character. With the goat's milk, you're not going to get those burnt notes, those caramel notes, those sherry notes. But if I ever want to think that someone who thinks they don't like goat's cheese, might like to try it, this is what I give them. This is the most elegant, refined goat's cheese that I know. Now, that's not, it's just so delicious. It's like white chocolate. It's amazing. It's elegance and refinement aren't everything. There are lots of other ways of doing goat's cheese fantastically, but this is just one. Oh, this is just so good. I highly recommend it. So if you can find some Wyngaard and you've got a little private time, don't share it. That's all I'm saying. Right.
I think Giel is back, Charlie. You just need to add him to the from backstage to front stage. Here he is.
He was probably off to milk a cow or build another house. I highly recommend it. So if you can find some Wyngaard and you've got a little private time, don't share it. That's all I'm saying. Right.
Giel is back, Charlie. You just to the from backstage to front stage. Here he is.
Giel, you can milk a cow or build another house. Okay, we just turned off Giel's mic because he hasn't worked out yet that he's nicked his computer off his girlfriend, who still has YouTube
to the from backstage to front. Here he is. I think we'll have to just close him. So,
Giel, turn off YouTube. Okay, right.
Technology.
We're going to try it with Jin. Have you the thumbs up if you've turned off your YouTube? Have you turned off your YouTube? Okay, we'll turn him back on again. Here we go. Oh, whatever. Right, Jin. Does Jin go with Gouda? This is the question on everyone's lips, obviously. It's not often you do neat gin. I remember when I was like 20, no, about 15, I was drinking gin at school. And which one are we going to try? I think we're going to try the Dutch have their own gin. It's called Jenever, or something like that. Nope. Too powerful. All right. Okay. So, where were we? So we've got lots of. This is becoming a bit of a mess. We've got lots of Goudas here. Gouda is the world's most popular cheese. It's relatively easy to make, and it's added sweetness that, if you do with that washed curd technique that Giel was talking about, means that its popularity is extremely strong, and people can like it even when it's very young, even though it's a very basic cheese, and you find it's really good at cooking because it melts really nicely at those young ages, a bit like the sort of young Alpines and the Gruyères and that kind of thing. So when you bring those in, it has a lot of use, and that's why it's so popular. But to make a cheap cheese, those young cheeses, you do not mature them. Maturing is expensive. So going beyond that 12 mark, which is where Gouda just nails it, and it's just such an awesome cheese, is surprisingly rare for the world's most popular cheese. So in that sense, there is just great cheese out there to be found. So if you go to your supermarket and look for Gouda, just go the distance, find the older ones. And if you can find a really good cheesemonger out there, and there are a lot of cheesemongers online, you can check out the Academy website. We're showing as many cheesemakers and mongers that are selling online as we can at the moment, which is really good. So that's working really well. Giel is on an Annika Rice moment. And so please do support your local cheesemakers, which brings us to the Great British Cheese Weekender. Is that right, Tracy?
Yes. Well, British Cheese Weekender with a hashtag in front, hashtag support small cheesemakers. So this is happening 8th, 9th and 10th of May. So not long, week and a half.
Yeah.
We have gone live today with the lineup, and over the 3 days, there's more than 30 masterclasses, which is awesome. So we have got so much going on. And it ranges,
fantastic.
Yeah, ranges from cook-alongs to you, Charlie Turnbull, are doing a cheese lovers question time.
Cheese lovers question time, straight out of the Radio 4 Gardeners question time playbook. We've got what did I call him last week? The Mick Jagger piece of Jamie Montgomery. I think he's going to love that. He likes a good bit of flattery. And Ruth Duskin from the Fine Cheese Company, who supplied half the cheeses here tonight. Not obviously Giel's. He sent me his direct. So that should be good.
Yep, and we've got cheese and wine, we've got cheese and cider, cheese and beer, cheese and whiskey. But we're all of the people leading those talks are cheese experts.
Mm-hmm.
We've got chefs doing cooking. We've got Sarah Peterson, queen of homemade cheese. She's making halloumi live. She's got here's what I made earlier thing going on. So it's really exciting. But you do need to buy your cheese beforehand. So go on the website, see which ones you fancy joining, and come along and buy the cheese that's relevant and come along. We're very excited because cool. I look like we're all going to still be in lockdown.
All right. So let's see if we can get Giel back. Giel, are you coming back to us? Can you talk to us now? No, you can turn your mic back on. Okay, well, he's obviously asking his girlfriend Sophia, who we met. Are you there? Okay.
We're on
always amateur hour here on Tuesday night is cheese night, but it is always the most professional cheesemakers we can get hold of. So I'm going to bid you good night. I hope you've had a really good time. We are Tuesday night is cheese night. Next week on the Academy of Cheese It, Tuesday night is cheese night, we have got blue cheeses. We've got Stilton, which is one of our great cheeses, one of the great British cheeses, and that's taken us into big, great British cheese weekender. So thank you for joining us. Go eat more cheese, go drink more gin, check out where the gin really does go with Gouda, drink the beer, experiment, have some fun, spend some time with the ones you love, enjoy it. All the best.
Thank you, Charlie.
Bye, Tracy. Bye, Gaia.